Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Good morning and thanks for tuning in for 23 ABC News at 6 a.m. on this Thursday. I'm Danielle Kernkamp.
I'm Mike Hart. Glad you're here. Let's bring in Elena Rusk. And if we all just, I think, hold hands, do a little singing perhaps, that it won't hit 100 today.
Oh, that's that how that works? It's like a rain dance.
I'm willing
different.
to try anything. Yeah. Sing, dance, whatever you want to do.
Dance. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Do it.
So it's not going to be 100 today.
I think we're coming in at 99 this afternoon. Arvin Lamont trying to get to 100, widespread triple digits out in the desert as this high pressure dominates. So whatever you can do to try and bring that temperature down, I'm with you. Make it happen, because along with this heat, we also have a lot of haze, which is kind of a bummer. We all hate when the air quality gets worse. It's at 97 on the index today. That's just a few points away from officially becoming unhealthy for sensitive groups. It should be there by tomorrow with that haze on the horizon. 60s and 70s to wake up to here in the valley and down into the desert. Kern River Valley in the 60s this morning, along with the Fraser Park area. 50s in the Tehachapi Valley for you. And then it's all uphill from here in Bakersfield. We're topping out at that 99 at 4 p.m. So maybe you don't want to heat up the oven and heat up the house. Why don't you head over to that Ridgecrest Strong fundraiser at the Salty's Barbecue on White Lane today for 5 hours. They'll be out there grilling in that 90-degree heat, so you can sit in the shade and have some barbecue, raising money for our earthquake victims. Let's take a look outside where you can see that the passes are wide open, but we are still seeing slowing from a crash earlier this morning, crawling at 20 miles an hour south of the 5 and 99 junction as you're approaching this crash. It was about 3:50 this morning that the CHP says a car was speeding about 100 miles an hour or faster when it caused a 3 to 4 car crash. Thankfully, as they're clearing this up, they say only minor injuries involved.
Now to breaking news out of Southern California. According to the USGS, a 3.7 magnitude earthquake hit this morning in Barstow. It reportedly happened around 4 o'clock this morning. At this time, no injuries or damage have been reported. This, though, is about 80 miles from where thousands of tremors have been felt near Ridgecrest over the last week. People in Trona did report feeling this earthquake, but it's still not clear if this is considered an aftershock of the quakes that have been happening out near Ridgecrest. We're going to continue to follow this.
Meantime, Vice President Mike Pence made his way through the Golden State and delivered a message to the people impacted by last week's earthquakes.
Ridgecrest Trona strong.
Yeah. Pence arrived in California Wednesday morning. He and his wife attended multiple events in the Central Valley. Pence also had lunch with donors at Harris Ranch in Coalinga. He visited Freitas and Sons Farms just outside of Lemoore, where he was the special guest for a trade event to discuss an update to the North American Free Trade Agreement proposed by President Trump.
A local business owner has been accused of inappropriate activity involving the American Sports Center.
23 ABC's Josh Sanders spoke with the parent whose 3 children attend the center and has more.
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
Rebecca Banta's 3 children attend the American Kids Sports Center in Northwest Bakersfield. Her 2 daughters take gymnastics, her son hip-hop. Banta concerned after finding out Wednesday about alleged inappropriate activity stemming from May of this year by the center's owner, Mike Williams. In a statement from Kern County Superintendent Chief of Staff Stephen Sanders, in May, the Norris School District received anonymous information of inappropriate activity on the part of the owner, and that the AKSC facility is used by the Norris Middle School cheer program. Williams and his wife are listed on the business license for the center. Williams, known for his time as a Kern High School District board member.
If there was an accusation against a coach of something to that high of an extent, that is something that every parent should be notified.
The district did not provide details surrounding the inappropriate activity and contacted local law enforcement. But both Bakersfield Police and Kern County Sheriff say there are no current investigations into the allegations. And Rosedale Union School District also saying there are no current complaints against Williams. District officials say they visited AKS centers and confirmed Williams was no longer involved in day-to-day operations or present at the facilities. Center staff saying they contacted parents in May, letting them know Williams was leaving due to health-related issues. In Bakersfield, Josh Sanders, 23 ABC, connecting you.
In other news, crews have pulled a body from the Kern River near Hart Park. That's according to Kern County Search and Rescue volunteers. 23 ABC responded to Hart Park around 8:30 last night after getting reports of search and rescue activity in the area. At this time, the circumstances surrounding the rescue and recovery are not clear, and the identity of the body has not yet been released. This is a developing story. For the very latest, you can head to our website, turnto23.com.
The Kern County Public Health Services Department has a warning for those of you planning to visit Lake Isabella. An active blue algae bloom, like the one in this picture, has been found in the area of Hanning Flat and Kissack Cove. It can be harmful to people, pets, wildlife, and livestock. Exposure to it can cause things like eye irritation, skin rash, mouth ulcers, vomiting, diarrhea, and cold or flu-like symptoms. Now, according to officials, dogs and kids are most likely to be affected due to their smaller body size, increased potential to ingest water, and the tendency to stay in water for longer periods. If you or your pet come into contact with algae and you experience any of those symptoms, you're told to seek medical attention immediately. Meantime, yesterday, the California City Police Department made repairs to water lines in the area of Proctor and California City Boulevards. During that time, residents living in the east side of town may have experienced low water pressure for a couple of hours. CPD say California City did not suffer any obvious damage from the quakes last week in the Ridgecrest area, but they say water pipes and utility lines may have been weakened by the tremors. Now, if you notice anything out of the ordinary regarding your utilities, you're urged to report it immediately to the proper companies that are listed right there on your screen. Meantime, any propane issues should be reported directly to your provider.
Today is the grand opening of the new Ronald McDonald House in Northeast Bakersfield.
23 ABC's Daniela Garrido. She joins us live once again from the new location with another look around. Daniela?
All right, we are clearly having some technical difficulties there. We'll bring her back when we get her. Concerts at the Fountain will be back this evening at the Marketplace, and set to hit the stage is Warfield. They'll be playing a little classic rock. The show will run from 7 to 9 p.m. It's free and it's open to the public. The Marketplace is located at 9000 Ming Avenue. If you can't make it tonight, they're hosting free concerts every Thursday through August, so there's only a couple left. And good news, it won't be triple digits when you want to head out there tonight, so not too bad.
Yeah, it should be in the 90s, so on the hot side, but we have moderate air quality. You see this dry weather pattern as high pressure builds. Today is kind of that warming trend, and then if we don't hit 100 today, we're trying to get to 99. Tomorrow will officially be the beginning of the heat wave, but a lot of attention being paid to potential tropical cyclone 2. And we have to call it that because it's not quite yet a tropical storm. It should become Tropical Storm Barry later on today into the Gulf of Mexico, so you're going to see a lot of coastal flooding. We had reports yesterday out of New Orleans of 8 inches of rain in just the day, and they're expecting another 10 to 20 inches out of this system. So as it continues to develop here, you see all of that wet weather is coming on shore along with high winds. We're also talking about a tornado threat and storm surge. So there are two different paths. The first scenario is that it would head straight toward New Orleans, creating a lot of flooding there, some heavy rain, and that chance for severe weather. Scenario number 2 takes it just a little further to the west. We'll watch very closely Louisiana today and tomorrow to see the impacts from this second named storm of the season. As for us here in California, completely clear. California is enjoying our second heat wave of the season, at least here in Kern County. We're at 72 right now with moderate air quality if you want to get up. Again, 99 today, trying to avoid that 100. 101 by tomorrow, Saturday, very hot at 106. I have more on this weekend's forecast coming up.
All right, still to come, a new report has been released regarding the mass shooting in Las Vegas. I'll tell you what officials are looking into with this latest investigation.
Plus, severe weather is hitting the Gulf Coast. Details on what experts are saying and if they're expecting it to turn into a hurricane coming up next.
Welcome back. 6:11 this morning, and great news. We've been watching it for more than 2 hours now. That crash southbound on the 5 near Laval Road. It was a high-speed crash from earlier this morning involving 3 to 4 cars. The CHP now says all lanes are open. This resulted in only minor injuries here, and you can see the last of that slowing opening back up as traffic is getting back to the speed limit. So you're good to go all the way down south, up and over the Grapevine. Things are good on the 58 as well. No issues along the canyon. Coming back down to Bakersfield, other than all of these cone zones, there is no slowing out there.
Well, today is the grand opening of the new Ronald McDonald House in Northeast Bakersfield.
Let's go back out to 23 ABC's Daniela Garrido. She's live from the new location. Daniela.
That's right. Good morning. We're at the brand new Ronald McDonald House. Today is the grand opening, and this organization has been in Bakersfield for 10 years. Last year alone, it served about 150 families. And well, we're here with Mark and Joyce, and they are just a testimony to the comfort that this home brings to families that can be going through something happy, but can also be going through something really tough. So we're going to have Mark kind of explain what brought you to the Ronald McDonald House 10 years ago.
Well, we were here 10 years ago. The house was brand new and only had 3 bedrooms. My son was involved in a very bad crash on the Grapevine. He was airlifted to the Kern Medical Center. And while we were waiting in the waiting room for him, Scarlett, the head of this house, recruited us to stay with her and in the house while he was in the hospital. My son was 20 years old, but because he was under 21, we still qualified to stay here. This house was wonderful. It was a comforting, safe, friendly place for us to stay for the sleeping times, and it allowed us to focus on my son and getting him better. It was an amazing place, and Scarlett's an amazing person, and we love this place.
And you guys stayed here for 28 days. Joyce, tell us a little bit. What was that? What were those 28 days like? I'm sure it was a roller coaster of emotions.
28 days is an awful long time. And the wonderful thing about this house and those many days was that they always had a volunteer here. They had different shifts. So when we woke up in the morning, we had the same wonderful, we called them angels, that were here to take care of us and get us on our way, prepared to go to the hospital. And then when we came back home, there was another angel there to sit and cry with us, to cheer with us, and to just hold our hands. And at the end of the 28 days, we had a new family. We had a brand new family in this wonderful, at the time, a very little house, but with so much love.
What do you hope this house brings to those new families that are more families that are going to be able to stay here?
It's just a calming place to stay. I mean, if you have to stay here, you're going through the entire worst part of your entire life. You know, your kid's either hurt or sick and in the hospital, and this gives you a little bit of a rock to stay with, so you can focus on your child.
Thank you so much, Mark and Joyce, for sharing your story. And like I said, there's just one testimony to the comfort that this home brings to those families. So today is the grand opening. You can come out here at 10 a.m. But for now, we're live at the Ronald McDonald House. Daniela Garrido, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Thank you, Daniela. In other news, the Las Vegas Police Department has released a new report about the Mandalay Bay mass shooting that took place in October of 2017. As you know, 58 people were killed, more than 850 concert goers wounded in the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. The 158-page report doesn't draw any conclusions about the motive for the attack. Instead, it examines the department's response and looks at the challenges that arose from personnel, equipment, and agency procedures. The report's based on hundreds of officer reports and interviews and thousands of dispatch calls and body cam videos. It makes dozens of recommendations for changes to department policies and their procedures.
President Trump is having a social media summit at the White House today. However, big names like Facebook and Twitter are not invited. The White House has not revealed the invite list. Big names from the right-wing media world will reportedly be there, along with conservative think tank leaders and internet personalities. The president will reportedly talk about what he called social media bias against conservatives. He'll also reportedly share ways that he's been successful on social media.
Now to a prickly predicament in Arizona. Officials in Tucson say a driver suspected of driving under the influence crashed with a cactus. Take a look at that. 39-year-old Kai Scott was arrested for charges of DUI and criminal damage after crashing with that cactus. The cactus actually went through his windshield. Authorities say no one was seriously injured. Scott suffered only minor injuries as a result of that crash. Officers, though, are still investigating that collision.
People living on the Gulf Coast are preparing for what could be a hurricane by this weekend. The video coming out of New Orleans is just insane. Look at this. The flooding turned streets into rivers and stairs into waterfalls. Right now, a disturbance is causing severe storms, but that disturbance is expected to become a tropical depression today and could be Hurricane Barry by this weekend. The storm's track is still up in the air, which is arguably one of the scariest parts about the whole thing. They don't know where it's going.
That's exactly it. We're expecting it to hit somewhere along the Louisiana coastline, but is it New Orleans or is it further toward the Texas border? So just really incredible to see those images coming out of there. That flooding in New Orleans, 8 inches of rain yesterday. They're expecting another 10 to 20 storm surge, tornadoes, other severe threats. It's really worrisome, along with high winds. To top it all off, here at home, it's the exact opposite of that. You see the sun coming up, these clear, calm conditions, a bit of haze on the horizon, air quality in the moderate range, but getting worse as this warming trend continues. So yesterday was an average day. Now we're climbing to those upper 90s, just above average. As that air quality gets worse, we expect it to be unhealthy for sensitive groups by tomorrow and continuing to rise on the index as we trap more and more pollution here in the valley. The heat wave will dominate through the weekend. Valley temperatures 103 to 108 for the weekend ahead. The hottest day is Saturday, and we are definitely going to be feeling that heat out there. It's already several degrees warmer here in Kern County than it was at this time yesterday, but it's pretty nice if you're getting your day started. 60s and 70s for most locations, still 50s for your morning lows in Tehachapi, Bear Valley, and Pine Mountain Club. Bakersfield at 72 right now, getting to those upper 90s later as this high pressure dominates with that sunshine and stability. Now tomorrow, the second heat wave of the season will begin. We're at 99 today, so if we hit 100, it officially begins. By tomorrow, we are expecting those widespread 100s for the valley and desert, and then Saturday is dangerously hot. We are talking 105 or higher for most locations in the valley and desert. Here in Bakersfield, I'm going with about 106 on Saturday, still 104 on Sunday, 101 on Monday. A heat wave is 3 or more days of 100s in a row. We had one of those back in June. This looks to be the second of the season. And then a fall to those upper 90s is more seasonal. It's sunny. It's stable for all next week. So in our Kern Mountain areas, you're going to see 95 in Isabella today, 98 tomorrow, trying to get to the 100s for you and Kernville Saturday. Tehachapi and Fraser Park, some 80s today, low 90s tomorrow. Saturday, the hottest day for you as well. So for us here in the valley, it seems like the mountains are a good place to escape, and indeed that's true, but there's not much wind out there, so it is stagnant and hot at those higher elevations as well. Be safe out there.
2 top experts believe they may be able to predict when sharks attack. ABC's Will Reeve takes a look.
I'm Will Reeve off the coast of Cape Cod, where we're tagging great white sharks. This is your GMA First Look.
Dr. Greg Skomel is teaming up with National Weather Service meteorologist Joe Merchant to test a revolutionary new theory on forecasting shark attacks.
Lead the way.
So far, Skomel and Merchant have gathered data in the Bahamas, and today the research continues in Cape Cod.
This is so close to the beach.
Greg takes his tagging pole to the front of the bow and waits for his moment.
We're tagging a shark. Oh, wow. Got it. Oh, there's the fin.
Once the tag's in it, we'll start learning from that fish. One of the things we're trying to do is get a sense of what drives the behavior of these sharks. Certainly it could be weather conditions, it could be water temperature. So we're testing all these various factors to see if there's any patterns, including Joe's ideas, that drive the behavior of these sharks.
That's all coming up on GMA.
Coming up next, from honoring a basketball legend to celebrating the best wins and the moments. We'll recap this year's ESPYs coming up next.
You go ahead.
The City of Angels turning into the biggest party in sports once again.
23 Sports Director Carrie Osip has the big moments from the ESPYs in this morning's Sports Wrap.
Welcome into 23 ABC Sports. It was all about the celebration last night in the sports world as it capped a day with a packed house of all types of sports figures at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles as the night honored some of the best in sports this past year. There were many memorable awards with the Los Angeles Rams and Kansas City Chiefs taking home trophies for the best game, with the quarterbacks accepting that honor. The Rams outlasted the Chiefs in the highest scoring game in the history of Monday Night Football, final score 54-51. And legendary basketball player Bill Russell took home the Arthur Ashe Courage Award as he pushed boundaries for black athletes, becoming the first ever black head coach in the NBA. And an incredible moment on the night went to a more unknown sports figure, a California high school football coach, Rob Mendez, who was born without arms and legs. He was honored for his tenacity with the Jimmy V Award for perseverance.
Realizing I couldn't play football, but I could coach football. That was the way for me to never give up, from the words of Jimmy V. That was my way of focusing on what I can do. And who says I can't go further? That's my message tonight. Who says I can't? Nobody! Yeah!
Yeah, that's awesome inspiration there from Coach Mendez. And Team USA, they would take home the final honor of the night, the award for Team of the Year, and into an already great week for the Americans. We're 85 days away, but who's really counting? Maybe the Condors are, as the Bakersfield Condors unveiled their full schedule for next season yesterday, which begins at home with the opening weekend on Friday, October 4th against San Diego. And then on Saturday, they'll have a game October 5th against the Ontario Reign. Well, let's take a look at some of the matchups they'll be seeing in the 2019 to 2020 season. Ontario Reign, they'll face those guys 12 times. San Jose Barracuda and Stockton Heat, 12 games as well apiece. The Colorado Eagles, will see them 8 times, as well as those San Diego Gulls. And the Tucson Roadrunners will face the Condors 8 games as well, with Grand Rapids with only 4 games. And the Condors will see the Iowa Wild with 4 games as well. Looking forward to that season. Well, former Bakersfield High guard Jeremiah Dickerson is leaving his city to pursue another university. The redshirt freshman was a walk-on at CSUB and saw limited minutes the previous season after sitting out with an injury the year before. Dickerson is headed to the Colorado Christian University, a Division II school just minutes outside of Denver, where Dickerson should be able to see more time on the floor. And another BHS athlete, Isaac Jernigan, he has committed this week to play football at Nevada. And some more good news for the Jernigan family came this week as well. They were looking to move down into Southern California this next season, meaning him and his brother Ian would not play at BHS, but the Jernigans are here to stay, so we'll be able to see the Jernigans and Isaac at least for one more season at BHS, and we'll get to see what Michael Stewart does with them and the Drillers this next season. Looking forward to that, and congratulations to you, Isaac. And for 23 ABC Sports, I'm Carrie Osep. Have a great morning, everyone.
There is still much more to come in our next half hour of news. The community and officials in Trona uniting and addressing issues and concerns. Details on what was discussed during a town hall meeting coming up next.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Addressing concerns in the town of Trona, we'll tell you what officials and the community talked about during a town hall meeting.
Plus, he was pursuing a career on the stage and on the screen when he accepted a role as a Marine in Vietnam. We have his story in an all-new Veterans Voice this morning.
And a good morning once again. Thanks for staying with 23 ABC News at 6:30. I'm Mike Hart.
I'm Danielle Kernkamp. Let's bring in Elena Rusk, get a quick check of this Thursday, almost Friday forecast. But as we get closer to the weekend, we're also getting a little bit warmer every day.
There's the culprit.
Usually I'm trying to fast forward to the weekend. I just want to fast forward past the weekend.
No.
It's going to be a scorcher.
Don't wish
Just
away
put the brakes on, or?
I know. But why did it have to be 107 on a Saturday? Why can't it be 107 on a Friday when you have free air conditioning at work?
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So let's talk about the sun. Mike, you're absolutely right. This is the culprit. This sunshine will be just beating down on us today, taking us up to 99 here in Bakersfield under these clear, calm skies. Air quality technically in the moderate range, but trying to become unhealthy for sensitive groups no later than tomorrow. 60s and 70s to wake up to, and because it is moderate, go ahead and head out for that run. Later on today, we're hitting 99 at 4 p.m. So for the concert by the fountain, 96 at 7 p.m., 91 at 9 p.m. We'll talk more about that 105, 106, 107, 108 that we have out there in that Saturday forecast coming up and tell you which cities those will be falling into. But as of right now, across town, we are doing great. Those passes wide open. We had some pretty nasty crashes from earlier this morning, but those have all been cleared up.
In this morning's A Veteran's Voice, we turn the spotlight on a man who was pursuing a career in theater and television when a twist of fate landed him in the jungles of Vietnam. Jim Hackett enlisted in the Marine Corps, and you might say he still wound up working with moving pictures, only this production was starring the North Vietnamese.
Yeah,
How many clicks to downtown?
Well, it's probably 7 or 8 clicks.
7 or 8 clicks. Yeah. Okay, good. Just in case I have to hike that way.
Jim Hackett and his wife Jill live the quiet life in the hills overlooking Pine Mountain Club, a far cry from his childhood outside New York City. The son of a Marine who enlisted after Pearl Harbor and fought his way through the Pacific. Jim Hackett had his sights set on a different theater when his girlfriend left and the war in Vietnam was ramping up.
And so I went to my father and I said, hey, Dad, you know, it looks like I can get drafted. I don't want to go in the Army. And he says, well, you're going to have to go in somewhere. You know, go in the Navy, go in the Air Force. You'll never make it as a Marine.
Never one to back down from a challenge, Jim enlisted in the Corps and was sent to boot camp at Parris Island.
My father taught me how to shoot his rifle. He brought back a M1 Garand from World War II. So I wound up shooting top shooter in my platoon. And
But he soon learned that he was destined for something else.
What's a 5900? He had to look it up. Electronics. Electronics? You're supposed to go to Vietnam and kill commies, for Christ. Come on, you know, what's the matter with you? So,
and he would excel at that too. Jim was assigned to a secret school teaching new technology, people finding radar, reportedly able to locate the enemy 200 to 300 feet away. Unfortunately, that put him right in the middle of the action.
We would go to places that the enemy was attacking or, you know, shooting at us or trying to get through our perimeter.
His team was deployed to numerous hotspots, resulting in 2 Purple Hearts.
With our radar systems, we were generally on the edge of our perimeters, so the enemy knew we were there. Had some pretty bad experiences because they wanted to take us out.
Jim actually wrote a scathing report about the device and said it was soon after the Marine Corps stopped using it. He extended his stay in Vietnam twice. When he finally came home, he said low morale in country and the sentiment at home left him feeling alone, an emotion his father understood.
He said, "No, so you're home?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You want a beer?" I go, "Yeah, okay." Drank our beer, didn't say a word, didn't talk about it. He knew. He knew.
Jim says he never talked about his experience. Instead, he turned his attention back to acting. Some work on stage and commercials led to a spot on the popular ABC sitcom 8 is Enough, his first big break and his first big blooper opposite Dick Van Patten.
And it was time for me to turn around and go out through the door. So I turn around and open the door and I walk into the closet. So the whole crew just cracks up and laughs. And I realized what I did. I figured I'm going to get fired.
But he wasn't fired. The show was actually canceled. But he continued working until the roles dried up.
The first step is who's Jim Hackett? The second step is get me Jim Hackett. And the third step is get me a young Jim Hackett. And the fourth step in an actor's life is who's Jim Hackett?
But it was during this time his military career was suddenly revived during an audition and a chance meeting with another grunt.
The guy behind the camera says, "Were you in the Marine Corps?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm Paul Grimm." I went, "Paul Grimm? Here's a guy I spent 7 months with in Vietnam. I didn't recognize him. Long hair, beard, what have you." We sat there and we looked at each other, we grabbed a hold of each other, we hugged each other, and I started to cry. I just lost it right there. And I'm starting to tear up now thinking about this. And we had this wonderful, wonderful moment. This correlates with the ribbon that they wear.
In the last few years, Jim went on the honor flight and was also part of a group called the Greatest Generation that took him back to Vietnam and the place where he earned one of those Purple Hearts.
Standing on the actual place where all these bad things happened caused me to feel that I had a sense of closure. I said, well, I'm done. I finally come to terms with this.
His happy place these days are in the quiet serenity of the PMC. He still keeps some mementos from his time in Vietnam and said even today, if the Corps came knocking, he'd answer the call.
Jim would later start a computer leasing company that had many clients, including the Jet Propulsion Laboratories. He also has high praise for the Bakersfield VA clinic, where he has volunteered in the past. Now, if you know of someone we should feature on A Veteran's Voice, send your nominees to me and that information to mike@kero.com.
The communities of Trona and Ridgecrest are continuing to rebuild after back-to-back destructive earthquakes last week. The state now offering extended credit to people who have been impacted. The State Compensation Insurance Fund is offering a 30-day credit extension to policyholders in Kern and San Bernardino counties. This comes as Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency in the affected areas. People with state insurance policies can request the extension by calling the number that you see right there on your screen, 888-782-8338.
The healing continues in the high desert community of Trona following the quakes that rattled that area. Now, FEMA officials are expected to visit there tomorrow. Officials and community members gathered for a town hall on Wednesday. The small town of Trona didn't just get hit. They were near the epicenter for two of the largest quakes in recent years. San Bernardino Fire Department officials say more than 100 structures have been tagged. More than a dozen properties are red flagged. However, that's not the worst part. According to officials and people who live there, two of the town's large water storage tanks were completely destroyed and the other can only be filled halfway.
We need water in this town. They just said there's water hooked up, but I don't have water to my house in Argus. I think that sometimes we're a forgotten town out here.
So FEMA is headed out to Trona to do a full assessment of all the different damage reports to try and figure out exactly how much funding will be allocated.
Ridgecrest Police says there will be a local assistance center set up starting today at the Kern-McGee Evacuation Center. It's going to be open today through Sunday, where state, local, and county resources will be available to those that have been impacted by the earthquakes. Families and businesses will have access to disaster assistance programs and services all in one place. The local assistance center will be open from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. at 100 West California Avenue in Ridgecrest. And if you turn to our website, turn to23.com, you'll see we have a full list of all of the state, county, and local resources, the agencies that will be present at that center.
The American Red Cross of Kern County is hosting a Be Red Cross Ready event focused on disaster preparedness. It will be held at the Valley Baptist Church Fellowship Hall on Fruitvale Avenue this weekend. It runs from 10 a.m. until noon on Saturday. Volunteers say becoming Red Cross ready for an emergency means following certain steps in advance to ensure that you can weather a crisis safely and comfortably. For more information, preparedness tips, and even a link to register, you can go to our website, turn23.com.
This moment of human kindness is sponsored by Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
A local business will be rolling up its sleeves and standing with Ridgecrest for a special event today. Salty's Barbecue is set to hold its Ridgecrest Strong Night Cruising event along with Diesel Mafia. It's happening from 4 this afternoon until 9 tonight at Salty's Barbecue on White Lane. They'll be collecting items needed by those impacted by the quakes, like toiletries, baby food, bottled water, and much more. Raffle tickets will be on sale for an opportunity to win a leather chair donated by R&D Leather Furniture. And Michelangelo's wood-fired pizzas rolling into Trona to help out the community there. The mobile pizza truck posting on Facebook saying they'll be at the Cumberland Presbyterian Church on Argus Avenue in Trona. They'll be serving food at 5:30 this evening. It will be free for those in attendance.
Well, today is the grand opening of the new Ronald McDonald House in Northeast Bakersfield.
23 ABC's Daniela Garrido is live from the new location with the details. Daniela.
Good morning. That's right. We're at the new Ronald McDonald House. It took about 6 months to renovate this, and this organization has been in Bakersfield for 10 years. Last year alone, they served about 530 families. And while we're here with Scarlett Sabin, and all morning she's been with us, kind of telling us, what does this brand new home mean to the families here?
Our newly expanded and renovated Bakersfield Ronald McDonald House means we can better serve families when they come to stay with us. So we have 3 private ensuite bath and showers for our long-term families.
Should we go take a look at them?
We should go take a look at them.
Explain as we do that.
Yes, so we have our beautiful entryway when you come in, and now we're going to go into one of our newly renovated rooms. We did twin beds with everything because it makes it way easier on us with laundry. But this is one of our newly renovated rooms, and we just want to thank Jim Burkford and the Women of the Moose of Stockdale Moose for everything they've done to supply the donations for furnishing. So 3 of our new rooms have private bath and showers for the long stay families. So families from out of the area that are staying 2 weeks or longer will have this extra amenity which we weren't able to offer before.
And what are some of those other new amenities, maybe let's go over here, that this brand new house has?
We have a new family business center because, you know, sometimes family needs to print things, jump on the laptop. So we have a brand new business center for the families. We doubled our laundry area to better serve families. And we completely renovated the kitchen. In addition, we added family lockers to make it easy when they're storing their own food if we don't have a meal group coming in one night and they want to cook their own meals.
That's amazing. And rooms like these, how many of these rooms are in the house?
We have 6 rooms for double occupancy like this, and then we have 1 nap room for either our day use families that just need a break from the hospital environment, or if they're just one parent or grandparent is just staying overnight, we can put them in those rooms, in that particular room, but it's just going to be beautiful for the families.
And for a family that might be staying at a hospital here, how do they find out that this is a resource that they have?
We serve all the area hospitals as long as the patient is 0, so newborn through 21 years of age. We're located at Bakersfield Memorial Hospital, but we do serve all the area hospitals. And so they just talk to their social worker or their the nurse. Out-of-town families get priority. If we have availability, we will take local families because sometimes, Northwest Bakersfield is still 30 minutes away from one of the hospitals.
Great. Thank you so much, Scarlett. So this was just a little small look at this brand new house. It is truly beautiful, 6 rooms. And so again, last year it served 530 families alone. And earlier you were able to see a testimony of the comfort that this house brings to families here in Bakersfield. So for now, we're live at the Ronald McDonald House. Daniela Garrido, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Thank you, Daniela. We love that tour and we love what they do. So here's a look out at one of the cool spots in the county. Pine Mountain Club waking up to sunny, calm, clear conditions, but still only in the 50s as this dry weather pattern dominates. So we're heading into our second heat wave of the season thanks to that high pressure. Look at how calm and clear the entire state is here on our satellite imagery. There's Pine Mountain Club at 58. You see Bear Valley and Keene are the same. 55 now in Tehachapi for your morning low. Still 60s in the Kern River Valley, many desert locations and much of the valley. Bakersfield at 72 along with Buttonwillow and Maricopa at this hour. So as we're heating up later today, upper 90s for the valley, trying to get to 100 briefly in Lamont and Arvin. Bakersfield right at 99. So if we hit 100 today, the heat wave will begin. And we're definitely going to get there by tomorrow, and very hot weather heading our way this weekend. Until then, let's talk about the mid 90s for Kernville and Isabella, upper 80s in Glenville, Tehachapi, Lebec, Fraser Park 86, Pine Mountain Club briefly at 80 this afternoon. Down into the desert, widespread 100s. Look at Ridgecrest, 107 today, getting much hotter heading into the weekend, which is hard on all of our crews who are out there volunteering and helping them to rebuild and recover from their damage. So if you are heading out there, make sure that you are staying safe in this incredible heat.
Still to come on 23 ABC News, battling cancer through a new app. Details on how this application helps you to eat the right foods that could help battle the disease. Coming up next.
Welcome back. Taking a look outside at our traffic after some pretty bad crashes earlier this morning. Thankfully, those only resulting in minor injuries. We are seeing everything is back open. Those freeways flowing freely. No problems on the passes or down into the desert with everything flowing at the speed limit. You see many construction projects continuing. So remember, you have to slow for the cone zone. We do have lane closures and street closures in some areas, but everything is back open in time for the morning commute.
We are still waiting for a decision in the penalty phase of a man convicted of killing a nanny in Florida. Here's a preview of what's ahead on Court TV.
I'm Vinny Politan. Today on Court TV, the verdict watch continues in the penalty phase of the case against Scott Nelson. The jury has already convicted him of the abduction and murder of Jennifer Fulford. Now they must decide what the penalty is. Is it life or death for this convicted murderer? We are live in Orlando waiting to hear from that jury.
In health news, more research is suggesting sugary drinks cause cancer. A new study found people who drink 100 milliliters of sugary drinks each day get cancer 18% more often than those who don't. 100 milliliters is equivalent to 1/3 of a can of soda. A few examples of sugar drinks are soda, pure fruit juice, energy drinks, or even a sports drink. This study did not link diet drinks to cancer. It's important to remember the study is observational. That means it did not prove the sugary drinks caused cancer. And an app that works while you sleep is helping to identify foods that help prevent or fight cancer. It's called Dream Lab, and so far it has 83,000 downloads and has performed 10 million calculations. The app identified carrots, celery, oranges, grapes, cabbage, and dill as having the most anti-cancer properties. Researchers hope to use this information to formulate new cancer treatments. They say that it's still a long ways off.
We've had a lot of talk about the casting of the live-action Little Mermaid. Well, Twitter has some suggestions of its own. Gordon Ramsay as Prince Eric's grumpy chef Louis. Do you guys remember this chef from The Little Mermaid? Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, right? Of course, Ramsay's known for his talent and his temper on cooking shows like Hell's Kitchen and MasterChef. No word yet on Ramsay. I know he's so active on Twitter, but no word yet as to whether or not he's willing to accept that role. I know that people have been talking about Guy Fieri being cast as Ursula, and he did retweet this picture, so he might be on board. Although I think they've already cast that position, but.
Yeah, I've heard that they're considering Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Is it official?
I don't know. Guy Fieri, I think he stands a chance. Look at that.
It's really fun. All right, so we have a warming trend continuing as that high pressure is building over the Four Corners region. We've been talking about this for about a week now, but one of the big headlines, because so many people are concentrating on the heat, is that you can't forget the air quality gets worse as well. Technically in the moderate range today, but just a few points away from being unhealthy for sensitive groups. We expect to hit that no later than tomorrow. And then this heat wave will dominate right on through the weekend. 100s popping up in a few spots today, widespread for everybody tomorrow. By Saturday, valley temperatures 103 to 108. Depending on what city you're in. So really feeling the heat out there, and with that haze, it's uncomfortable. Look at these temperatures, several degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday, up 7 degrees in California City, Ridgecrest, Keene, and Arvin from 24 hours ago. Bakersfield is 5 degrees warmer, so instead of the 60s we had yesterday, we're at 72. But 72 with moderate air quality, that's still really nice to get out the door this morning. And then here goes this high pressure continuing to build today into tomorrow. Saturday, the hottest day of this trend, and then it's very slow to break down and get that high pressure moving back out of the way. So sunshine all the way through early next week. You see from 99 today to 101 tomorrow in Bakersfield, 106 on Saturday. Some spots like Arvin and Lamont trying to get to 107 or 108 that afternoon. Ridgecrest 110 or higher come Saturday. As we slowly fall Sunday here in Bakersfield, 104, still 101 on Monday. And then a little bit of an ocean breeze trying to take us back down to those upper 90s, which is more seasonal next week. But it's just a breeze. It's not a strong wind. It's just a little bit of onshore flow that should take those temperatures down. Not really keeping us cool though. Up in the Kern River Valley, you're seeing 90s today and tomorrow, trying to get to the 100s on Saturday. Tehachapi and Fraser Park 80s today, 90s tomorrow, and right on through that weekend. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Some speedy dachshunds in Southern California spent some time practicing for a big event next weekend. The 24th running of the Wiener Schnitzel Wiener Nationals will be held Saturday, July 20th at the Los Alamitos race course. Up to 100 dogs were chosen based on the creativity of their entry applications. Wednesday was practice, but on race day, they'll compete in 10 50-yard trial heats. Those winners then face off in the championship run.
We do it for fun. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on her, but she loves to race. She loves to play. This is very interesting for other dogs to be involved because you can't ever predict what's going to happen with a wiener dog.
Proceeds raised by the wiener dog races will go to the Seal Beach Animal Care Center, a nonprofit group that helps stray animals in the Orange County area.
People got onto the shoulder of a road after an armored truck dropped thousands of dollars on an interstate in Atlanta. Yeah, Dunwoody police in Atlanta say that more than $100,000 in cash covered the road after the truck's door flew open, dropping the loot. Now, officials are asking everybody who picked up some of that cash to give it back.
$100,000 came out of the truck?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a lot of people. Oh my God, look at it go.
Would you guys pull over to get some of that money?
No.
No. I'd be scared because you know someone's recording it. You're going to get your life
that's true.
That's on camera. You know, like you're going to have to give it back anyway.
When I usually have my kids in the car, so I'd want to set the good example and be like, now kids,
you don't take what doesn't belong to you. Yeah.
Part of me is like, that's a lot of cash on the side of the road.
But you need to go to college.
You also need
You know, you have that feeling first, but honestly, I also think that, and you guys give me guff about this all the time, I'd get out and be yelling and doing the dad thing.
Yeah,
you would.
What are you so would.
That's not yours.
That is so
but
my
while
car
you're doing that, you're picking up the cash.
I'm going to hold on to this.
It's
for your own good.
For your own good. I'll turn this in.
I wonder how much will actually get returned.
I know.
So this happens every couple years, and
every now and again. All right.
Yeah.
Gone.
We're going to have to follow up
before they can track it down. All right, so radar and satellite showing us we're completely clear. 60s and 70s for most of the county, 50s up in Tehachapi at this hour. Getting up to those 90s today, widespread 100s heading into the weekend. Saturday still the hottest day of this trend.
All right, something to watch
until
for.
next week. That's going to do it for us this morning. Breaking news, weather, and traffic anytime you need it on our mobile and tablet apps.
Have a great morning. We'll see you right back here in 30 minutes for some live updates.